Today I'm going to have a experiment. It doesn't seem like a huge experiment, but I'm quite intrigued by the difference these are going to make. So I've got two canvases, both the same size, 8 by 10, and I've got two pipes. This one is 1/2 inch across, this one's 1.5 inches across, and I want to see the difference I get in terms of the same palette, same size canvas, and see if it makes a difference in terms of the spread of the paint, the kind of patterns, the cells, and all that. You know, well, any kind of difference at all. If you hear strange noises in the background, the cat's wandering around, so don't be surprised. So today I am using sort of red and green palette. I have, these are all again liquitex basics paints. We've got Hooker's Green, Cadmium Red Light, Alizarin Crimson, and Copper. And to the copper I've added some Pearl-Ex mica powder, which is super copper mica powder, just to give it that extra bit of sparkle. And on top of that I've mixed up my my white, which is titanium white, again Liquitex basics. All of these have been mixed with the Liquitex pouring medium, and I have a couple of drops of silicone in all of the colours, but not in the white. So I'm going to get some white on the canvas, because I do want to use, oh, lovely squeaky, I do want to use the pipe fillet on the canvas, and therefore I do want to have my white on there completely covering, so that I can get a bit of a floating effect when I fill the pipe with white. I want to make sure I've covered the edges, covered my full canvas. Okay, so that's quite a decent layer of white. Look at a nice floating effect. Okay, I'll make sure I've got all of the edges covered. Told you the cat was in here. Okay, put that to one side. So I'm going to start with my small one. This is, like I said, 1/2 inch. And I am going to start here. And really don't need a lot of paint at all. So we are going with, starting with the Cadmium Red Light. A little bit. Then the Hooker's Green, making sure my silicone is mixed in. And then this is the Crimson, which is interesting actually, because it is a crimson, but it comes out more of a magenta. So that'll be intriguing to see what that looks like when it's done. And this is my bronze, both the copper, sorry, not the bronze, the copper, with a bit of mica powder in for sparkle, or should I say extra sparkle. And I'm just going to fill to the top with a little bit of white. So there we go. Okay, so definitely full. And what I'm going to do, the second one with this, is kind of probably fill it about halfway. I don't want a lot more paint. I just would like to see what the width does to the pattern that I'm getting. Okay, so interesting, nothing's escaping this time. So hello sweetie. Okay, off we go. Lift it up a little to let the paint out, and then pull across. Wow, so I really like that effect. Immediately getting the hello darling. I'm painting. Immediately getting bubbles coming through, sorry, cells coming through. I'm just going to let it do its thing for a little while. Again, making sure I've got paint on my edges here. Oops, sorry, hit the camera there. I really like these colours together, which is quite interesting. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to tilt. I just want to do this experiment with literally dragging the paint and using my torch to make sure I've popped the bubbles, and I'm sure we'll bring out, yeah, more cells. I definitely do not want bubbles in my paint when it dries, so make sure I've got all my bubbles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the camera going for probably about 5 minutes, and we'll see what this does, literally with no no tilting, no so what happens when you drop the camera. See what this does, no tilting, no anything else, just let it rest and spread. So that is the small 1/2 inch diameter, and I'm going to pause and come back to it in about 5 minutes and see what's happened. Have some tea while we wait. Okay, I'm back. So that genuinely was 5 minutes of fast forward. Okay, so it's quite interesting. So obviously, if I had paint seeping out here, but if I hold my hand over here, this is the width of the pipe that I put the paint in and did the drag with, and it spread quite interestingly. And obviously, you know, this is where we started, so this was a much deeper area of colour, but it spread quite interestingly. What intrigues me is that these, you know, these areas were the cells when they were quite small, and they spread out all on their own. And just this small amount of paint, without doing anything to it, literally just pulling it across the canvas, it's made some really pretty colours. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that, and I'm going to grab the second canvas, and we'll do the same again, but with a broader pipe. So we've got about, I think it's about 1.25 inches. So canvas number 2, straighten that up a little bit. How's that? Okay. Right, so canvas number 2, like I said, I'm going to go with exactly the same colours. Start with the white, and then this one is literally about 1.25 inches wide. And then we'll see what difference that makes in terms of, again, letting the paint do its own thing. Hey, I figured if I'm learning, I might as well share that learning with you guys as well. So again, starting with the white, Getting coverage on the canvas. I need a bit more. Let's get this all over. By the way, in case anybody's interested, this is my midlife direction change, you know. You just suddenly decide, I'm going to go and do something interesting. And so it's probably about a year ago, I started doing what I shall deem arty things. And really stuck with it. I spend a lot of my work time dealing with technology and people and the mixture of people and technology, and sometimes you just need something completely different, which I'm sure a lot of you will understand. Okay, so I'm going to put the pipe in the same place. Like I said, I'm gonna fill this up only about halfway and try and get the same order. So and the green. So hopefully you've got about the same volume of paint, but who knows, I'm not that brilliant at measuring things by eye. I'm going to call this the orange. It isn't orange. It is cadmium red, but it just looks very orange. A copper. And top it off with a little bit of white. So again, there we go. That's it. So about halfway up, probably a 2-inch pipe, so about 1 inch up, and I've got the 4 colours, a bit of white, and again a bit of silicone. So it's the same colours, same mix, everything. Just a bigger pipe. So let's go for it. So lift a little to let some of that colour out, and then do that. So immediately, obviously, what we're seeing is, you know, more, a lot more paint, obviously. Another thing that I'm seeing is I clearly dragged deeper around here, so I had that sort of where the paint pulled away rather than letting it float. So again, let it sit for a minute and see if the paint comes together, especially in this area, or if I need to help it along. I don't think I need to help it along, I think I just need a bit of patience. So more paint, more richer colour. I mean, not a huge amount more paint, but I think that's the sort of richer areas of colour that are that sit together. So the first one was, you know, spread to be quite quite lacy. Okay, so that's coming together nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to pop the bubbles and make sure we don't have bubbles, and I'm expecting again to see cells. There we go, look at that come up. But you know, obviously, you know, putting the silicone in, that is one of the things that I was after, but this is really about popping bubbles, because I do not want bubbles in my final piece. Wow. So again, some really nice, I mean, this is really interesting. So without the first one didn't have this kind of sort of multicellular cells within cells. and I'm quite intrigued to see if that's going to stay. Got quite a lovely piece of sort of lacing around here, which again was something that I got a lot of in the initial piece. So again, I'm going to set that really is, I mean, starting wider, that really is spreading. But I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm quite intrigued, because I was like, before I started this, I was expecting to much prefer this smaller width, but actually the wider one, and still with a small amount of paint, so only, like I said, filling it up halfway, is really quite pretty. And I don't know if you can see inside there. It's really pretty inside there as well. Okay, so we're going to again give this 5 minutes to do its thing, and we'll see how that looks at the end, and I'll speed it up for you. Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, starting now.
Okay, so it's been 5 minutes, and I really am intrigued. Honestly, I must have put more paint in this one. Must have. I mean, there's so much more colour. It didn't seem like it, but maybe I'll do some maths. Go back to school. But yeah, this is really beautiful. I mean, the cells within cells. Obviously, these are moved around, but you can start to see like real cells within cells over here. One thing I think is quite clear to me is my table is not quite flat, because the paint's spreading sort of towards that corner with both of them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you down for a close-up, first on this one and then on the other one, and hopefully you can see. So this is the area where we've got the most copper, which you can see as the copper and the green and the red together look really beautiful. That crimson is very much like magenta. More copper here, and you can start to see this lovely lacing, but nowhere near as much as in the first one. And again here, I love the way that you have, if I come in here closer, you can see the cells within cells. Very organic. I really love that. So that's the second one with the larger pipe. Okay, so if I go back over to the, I'll go back over to the first one. Try and keep me, focus. So this is clearly where we started with the pipe. Again, this very small one, but what we've ended up with is a lot of lacing. Try and keep that a little light. A lot of lace, and the paint's spreading. And again, I'm assuming part of that movement is down to the fact that, try and give you a view without the shadows. Part of that movement is down to the fact that my table is not flat. But yeah, quite an interesting experiment. Because like I said, let me hold these up together so you can see them, but I'm not dripping on. Go that way. So yeah, the difference. If I do it that way, it's probably easier to see. And that's quite a significant difference. So I guess if you want to do different kinds of effects just with a simple drag, so like a pipe drag of the paint through the white background, you can see the difference that having the different thicknesses makes, and you can make a deliberate choice. So this is beautiful with lots of colour, but at the same time the first one, again, very lacy, very ethereal. So fascinating stuff. Okay, so thank you for coming along this journey with me today, and let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe if you want to see some more videos, and come back again when I post some more of my journey of learning. Thanks very much.